Since US President Donald Trump has announced that he and Melania Trump have tested positive for COVID-19, it has led to an uncertainty about how the presidential election will now play out. While his physician, Sean Conley, has maintained that the president is doing well and is fever-free, White House Chief of Staff has said that Trump's vital signs are very concerning. Joining me is my colleague Meher Gill to talk about what could happen to the elections if COVID-19 puts Donald Trump out of the contest.
The US Constitution does not have any set rules that tell the party to choose a replacement candidate. So it's up to the Republican Party or the Democratic Party to choose that. They have their own rules to govern that. So in case Trump was to withdraw from the elections, the Republican Party has empowered the Republican National Committee to choose a replacement candidate. Now this committee has about 168 members. And these members can then have two ways to choose the replacement. So one is if they take a majority vote. And the second is if there's too much disagreement among the delegates, then they will have to reconvene the party convention, which means like a very lengthy process of again nominating a presidential candidate. And given that election day is on November 3, it seems like a very unlikely option. Even if this was a realistic situation, then Mike Pence, who's the current vice president and Trump's running mate, he seems like the most likely replacement option for the Republican Party. About 2 million votes have already been cast, and millions of ballots have been printed with Trump's name on them, which means that they have been shipped out as well, and a lot of people have already chosen Trump as their option and mailed them back. So it is unlikely that the ballots will be reprinted with a replacement candidate. And so for many voters who've already voted or for voters who are yet to vote, it's possible that they will still have to choose between Trump and Biden, even if it means that a replacement candidate comes in. But it is also possible that states might give some voters who've already voted a chance to recast their vote and choose between the replacement versus Biden then. The first US presidential elections happened in 1792. So since then, a presidential election has never been postponed, and the US has seen the Civil War since then, the Spanish flu, the Great Depression, world wars. So we know that during these significant world events, a presidential election has never been postponed. And even before Trump fell ill, there was speculation that maybe the elections could be postponed because of the pandemic. But well, they are happening on November 3 as of now. But in case the elections had to be postponed, that has a process and the Congress decides that. So right now, as per US law, general elections have to take place on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November every 4 years. But if the Congress thinks that, this is not possible, this is not feasible, they will have to make changes in that law that governs the date for the US election, and then that law will have to be ratified by both houses of the Congress, which is the House and the Senate. So it's a long process and unlikely to happen. US state primaries still have been delayed in the past, like in 2001, the New York state primaries were delayed because of 9/11, and in 1992, Florida state primaries were delayed because of Hurricane Andrew. So that can happen, but presidential elections have never been delayed. That is very straightforward. In that case, Trump will have to invoke Section 3 of Amendment 25 of the US Constitution, which means he just has to sign a declaration saying that I am incapacitated, and in that case, Mike Pence will take over. Another situation is if he is so ill or he's on oxygen support and he's not even able to invoke that provision of the Constitution. So in that case, Mike Pence and a majority of the cabinet will send a notice to both the houses on his behalf, in which case also Mike Pence will take over. until Trump recovers and wants to come back and resume his presidential duties. This provision has actually been invoked in the past, once by Ronald Reagan in 1985 and twice by President George Bush in 2002 and 2007. So it's not something which has never been done before.